That's right. Back at it again, full custom hot dog with a Blu-Ray review and those inconsistent uploads, baby. Today we're going to be talking about the 1980 film Children. You might be saying, hot dog, where have you been? Christmas time happened. I actually had some stuff lined up for Christmas. I had this lined up for Christmas, which has a lot of content, which is great. And I was going to do it before Christmas because people told me this was a Christmas movie. And I believe they were talking about the 2008 film of the exact same title, The Children. I had a friend tell me that The Children was a Christmas movie. Joe Bob recently talked about it on his Phantasm thing, but again, I believe he was referencing the 2008 film of the same name, different film, not a remake. But we're here to talk about it, and I've got a few other things we're going to be talking about this week as well. But of course, right now we're talking about the 1980 film, The Children, which got of course, a solid release from Vinegar Syndrome, and that's what they do. If you watch my Black Friday pickup video, you might have seen it there with the cool slipcase, which is what Vinegar Syndrome gives you if you order it quickly. This was announced on Black Friday along with Mausoleum and Cutting Class, which I'm going to talk about at some point as well, which I actually can't wait to get into because I haven't even looked at what's on the disc because I just wanted that film. And we'll talk about that another time, though, because we can talk about that for some length, but we're here to talk about the film, The Children. So, as per usual, we talk about what's on the disc, and then we talk a little bit about the film. So, what can you expect from Vinegar Syndrome on this release of The Children? Well, you've got a newly scanned and restored in 2K from a combination of its 35mm original camera negative and best surviving theatrical prints. Also, what's in there is so this film's kind of uncut, I guess, because they've woven in some previously cut material, and you will know because there's a change in the quality of the film, which to me is not a negative. I kind of like that in some ways, but I could get why you wouldn't. But knowing Vinegar Syndrome, they've restored everything the best they could, and even those scenes that don't look as good still look pretty decent. So there's that. You've got a new audio commentary with director Max Kalmanowicz, which is pretty okay. He's kind of boring, to be honest. He's only directed one other film, and that's called Dreams Come True, which I haven't seen, but I really want to because the trailer looked really cool. So that's up there on my watch list. If it ever gets a Blu-ray release, or if it has one and I don't know about it, I'll pick it up. I'll insta-buy that for sure. It just looks cool. You've got an archival audio commentary with producer, co-writer Carlton J. Albright, who is kind of the main man behind the picture. You'll hear me bring him up in some of the featurettes and stuff. He definitely has a lot of insight and some of the stuff that kind of went down during the making of and what shaped it to be the movie that it is. You've also got a featurette called Childhood Memories, Making the Children, and a new interview with Carlton J. Albright, that's the co-writer that I mentioned, and production manager David Platt, which is pretty good. Again, Carlton J. Albright is wonderful when talking about this stuff. You've also got something called Return to Ravensbeck. That's another little featurette that just kind of does the now and then location stuff, which I really dig, and maybe you do too if you're kind of into seeing how locations change over time. This one especially, it's pretty neat. You've also got something called The Lost Scene, and not quite a featurette. All that is audio without video from a scene that they found. They just found audio of a scene, they included it, which I think is really cool because I could very easily see somebody going, no, we don't have the materials, or forget about it, too much work or something, just disposing of this audio, but it's here. It's what they've got, and I think that's neat. You've also got archival video interview with, again, Carlton J. Albright, who, like I mentioned, pops up quite a bit through here. He's sort of the main man who, again, regales us in tales of the children and the making of. Memories of the Children. It's an archival featurette, again, with Carlton J. Albright, Patricia Albright, and Gil Rogers. You've got Making the Children, another archival featurette with, again, Carlton J. Albright and David Platt. So you definitely see a running theme here. Something that is included that's a little interesting is called The Children the Musical, an archival interview with Stan Richardson, co-creator of the musical rendition of The Children. So this guy basically made a musical version of The Children, which is kind of a wild idea, and it played off Broadway and seemed to be kind of popular. And then that's pretty much it on the disc. Very, very solid release. As always, Vinegar Syndrome always delivers, never lets you down. Wonderful release. If you're a fan of this movie, you should own this already. If you're not, it's kind of a fun movie worth watching. I had no idea that Troma had released this, which is interesting, and as a release, it gets an A plus. A plus. What the hell am I talking about? A regular A. This is an A plus. You've got a great scan, 2 commentaries, and a bunch of featurettes. This should have everything you need to know about The Children. But let's go ahead and talk about the film, The Children from 1980. So, what is it about? Well, I'm going to read partially IMDb's little synopsis here, then I'll fill it in where I can. So, according to IMDb, a nuclear plant leak turns a busload of children into murderous atomic zombies with black fingernails. Now, the atomic part isn't played up too much. It's just enough. It's not like a 50s cheeseball atomic zombie thing, which is kind of cool. They actually filmed the film opens with a scene at a nuclear power plant, and they filmed that very, very last. The director thought they needed some explanation to why this toxic gas was happening, so they filmed a scene at a energy plant that's now gone. I think they said that was out in Jersey. And this film's original title was The Children of Ravensbeck, and they had to change it because people feared it was too close to the actual to a concentration camp, I think, which is also known as Ravensbeck. Kind of interesting stuff. And who do we have? Well, I mentioned we got Max Kalmanowicz, who also directed another film, Dreams Come True, which I believe Troma put out as well. Not 100% sure on that because I'm not too familiar. A cast that I'm primarily unfamiliar with: Martin Shakar. A lot you may notice a couple familiar faces. A lot of the children were played by kids of the cast who they just kind of brought to the set and were like, "Hey, you're going to be in a movie." It's a different take on the whole evil children thing because they are irradiated and they hug their family and their family becomes meatloaf, essentially. I actually thought the first half was kind of I thought it was okay, and I don't normally do spoilers on this channel. If you do watch this channel, I don't like to do spoilers, but I have to say, I was watching it. I'm kind of, sort of engaged lightly, and then once it's revealed that these children are the bad guys, one of the men pulls a katana from the shelf because he realizes. And you may want to pause this. You may want to skip over this. He realizes the only way to stop these children is to cut off their hands because their hands have black fingernail polish. And I'm not going to lie, I did let out a cheer because I thought that was kind of the coolest thing I'd seen in an older movie. That seems like something you'd do now to parody an 80s film, is you'd have like a sheriff grab a katana and unsheath it and start chopping kids' hands off. But this happened back then, and I just thought it was so cool. I think I yelled out an audible, "Fuck yeah," because holy shit, I can't believe this is happening. And then they just start attacking these kids, and it got buck wild-ish, like on a scale of Who Could Kill a Child, that Spanish film. I talked about it a while back when I first started the channel. On the scale of how he fought the kids versus how they fought the kids, he definitely went above and beyond what they did in Who Could Kill a Child. You see katanas going at kids, shotgun blasts. It's a little wild and very surprising, the lack of restraint here, because that's not something you'd see very frequently. I hope I didn't spoil that for anybody. And also, I'm probably playing up how ridiculous and wild that is, because it's a little tamer than that. But that stuff still happens and is still kind of cool. But I definitely enjoy this movie. The cut scenes. What's not actually, you know what I just realized? I don't think was mentioned was there's an interview. So the cutscenes that are interwoven in this film primarily have to do with a diner that's actually still there, and there's an interview with I guess the current owner of the diner, who seemed to actually be a fan of this movie. A lot of the scenes got cut though, but there's some good stuff in this flick. I can easily give this a recommended watch. However, to own, I mean, yeah, Vinegar Syndrome absolutely crushed it. They always do. So if you're a fan, absolutely pick this up. If you're into the movies where kids kill people, this is kind of a cool one, especially because it's got that twist of them hugging people and they become, I think they frequently use the phrase eggplant parmesan, but of course it's according to the producer and co-writer, so Carlton J. Albright was co-writing this movie. with, I believe it was Edward Terry. And Edward Terry was originally supposed to direct. This was going to be kind of his first big movie, but apparently he was a very irresponsible alcoholic. They had to pull him off the film. And another interesting tidbit that I think a lot of you will appreciate is the soundtrack is done by Harry Manfredini, who you may know from things like Friday the 13th, tons and tons of stuff. But House, Deep Star 6, we've definitely talked about him on this channel a few times. But it's what's incredible is Carlton J. Albright talks about how this film was made before Friday the 13th, you know, and Harry Manfredini invited him to the Friday the 13th opening, and he goes and listens to that soundtrack, and he says, "Wow, you know, all that music really, you pretty much took it from our movie." So I actually don't think that's the first time Harry Manfredini has kind of lifted from himself, but solid score nonetheless. But anyways, check out The Children if you haven't. If you're a fan, pick this up right away. Standard Vinegar Syndrome pricing applies. No complaints. I think for the work they put into every freaking disc and package, it's absolutely worth it. They've got some great releases coming out next month, so if you're not following them on Twitter, do so. And check out what they got coming out. They've got The Invited, a killer cat movie that Red Letter Media recently talked about. A lot of cool stuff is coming. So, it's the end of the episode, and I want to wish you all a happy new year. And to many more Blu-rays to come. I've got a lot to talk about coming up. I'm hopefully going to be starting that podcast soon, I think. I hope. I have some of the details squared away, but hopefully you'll be there for that. Anyways, thank you for watching Full Custom Hot Dog. You can holler at me on Twitter. It's Full Custom Hot Dog without the last O, because that is just too long for Twitter. So thank you for watching, and until next time.